Hello everyone, welcome back to the kitchen table. Today on the kitchen table, I'm just going to be rounding up the review on the Parrot Bebop. Some flight testing and an overall sort of summary of what I think about it at the end. But before we go any further, it's the kitchen table here, and tradition dictates that we must have a beverage whilst discussing our drones. And today we're on to a bit of a supermarket regular pleaser, the Hardy's stamp of Australia. This is the Shiraz Cabernet from 2014, and as with most things out of Australia, it's bloody good. So cheers. Yes, so in a minute we're going to go into some the outcome of my flight testing, but before we do that, I thought I'd just a couple of little wrinkles, a couple of little things that I've discovered, good and bad. One of the things that I said that I thought was quite a good idea, both from Parrot's point of view and if you travel with it, is they've made, rather than giving you a charger for different territories, so you buy a UK one and then you have to get an adapter to use it abroad, whatever, the same charger for everyone, multi-voltage, and they provide you with a box full of different adapters so you can use it worldwide, which is excellent, I thought. Only one slight problem with the UK 3-pin design is that when you put it in appropriately, as you can see, the charger sitting in the wall socket is upside down. This means that gravity is not helping to keep that in, and so as you can see, you get a little gap there, so you might lose contact quite easily. And also the status light to see whether it's full or still going, or there's a problem, is upside down. Now obviously it's not a major issue, you just get an extension lead and you sort of mount it horizontally and that's fine, but it's just one of those little wrinkles that they obviously, I suppose we could say it's the British fault for having an asymmetrical socket design, but there you go. The other thing that I found, which I thought was a real positive, and you might see some reasons why I found that out soon, is a really nice touch is if the aircraft detects that its rotors have been stopped unexpectedly, for example, you've crashed into something or it's got tangled up in something, then not only does it kill the power immediately, but it then sends a high frequency pulse to the motors, creating a beep noise. So it basically has its own sort of automatic search beacon, and it starts beeping, which is just a really nice touch and a really clever thing, and something that perhaps other manufacturers could incorporate quite easily into their design. So I liked that. Anyway, I had some time with it, not a great deal, but enough to, I think, come to a bit of a conclusion. One thing that's happened since the previous review is they've updated the Android app to now work with Lollipop. So if you have Android 5, the app now works very well, actually. It looks good, all the icons are there, and I don't have to steal my son's tablet anymore. So without further ado, let's go and have a look at a couple of tests in some different conditions that I did flying the Bebop. Hello, so here we are outside. It's a beautiful day, a very light wind, so I thought we'd test out how sensitive it is on the controls. Because obviously I'm a bit worried that there might be a bit of a lag with the Wi-Fi. So we're on the new Android Lollipop Ready app, so let's hit the automatic takeoff. Little drift. GPS is locked. I'm just going to have to move it manually out of the way of that bush. Oh, wrong control stick. Let's give it a bit of height. There, guest appearance by Tom there. It's we have a GPS lock, but it doesn't want to stay locked. Now it's been fully calibrated, so it's a little bit of a disappointment. It seems to want to drift to the left. So let's bring it out. Let's going to pop it up a bit. It probably might go out of shot. See if that improves matters. Yeah, it's a bit better. Just give it a bit of a pirouette, see what happens. Whoa, very drifty. It's a good job I can fly nose in, isn't it? Because I'm having to recover this. So that's a bit disappointing. Now it may be that I'm in a sort of a shadowy, an area of GPS shadow, but I would have hoped that it would have taken account of that by using its little optical sensors at the bottom, or its ultrasound sensors. Let's see if it's any more stable a bit lower. Still got green on the GPS. So that's a little bit disappointing. It is, it's controllable. It's actually, the lag is quite minimal. Certainly, I mean, I'm only feet away. So what I'm going to do is going to move to a different area, and we'll see if we can get a better result further away from the house. Okay, so we've moved to a different part of the garden now, much further away from the house, much more in the open. I'm still reading green on GPS. Let's do an auto takeoff and see what it's like now. And we are very light winds. It seems better. We're drifting again. Not as accurate a hold as I'm used to, but then I might have been spoilt by a much more expensive Phantom line. So let's give it a bit of altitude. Okay, forwards. That's actually very responsive for Wi-Fi. I think if you get used to it, I think you can. I mean, I'm sliding my thumbs up and down and getting a good rocking motion. Do a bit of a wing waggle, and we'll be able to see that how stable the video is. We'll link them up. Very weird steering with your thumbs. Very weird. Well, steering with your thumbs and sliding. You've got to kind of put your thumb on and then move it in the direction. So there's a slight kind of gap in my thinking where you've got to remember to make contact first. Well, fun enough, it's a touch screen. So we've got, you know, forward, back, we've got slew left, we've got pirouette, which it seems to lose a bit of height on. Let's do the other way around. That's better. So it's a bit more controllable here. I'll prop it up a bit. Yeah, let's let it hover and see what it'll do. Oh, the dog's come to have a look. So what we'll do now is we'll try we'll pop it up to a bit of height and we'll press the auto landing, see what that does. There we go, auto land. Pretty good. I mean, it knows it's down. I have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed, but I also have to say that I've just come from flying a much more expensive aircraft, and I'm also completely not used to a touchscreen control system. So I really need to get my my head around that. But there we are. Now, by the magic of editing, I wonder how it performs when the winds are not light. Okay, so let's see what it's like. It's a really nice sunny day, but it's a bit blowy and breezy. So we'll test out the GPS. Let's do an automatic takeoff and it should hover at about 3 feet off the deck. Here we go. It's having to fight, isn't it? I'm just going to record some footage now so you can see what the stabilisation is doing. That was me just moving it out of the way of that tree because it was drifting slightly. So video stabilisation is reasonable, I think. Yeah, it's struggling with that wind, isn't it? It's not, you know, I'd fly a Phantom in this wind. I wouldn't fly this in this wind. I'm just going to take it forwards a little bit. Yeah, struggling. Just do a little pirouette. Hello. Really struggling in this moderate wind. So there we are. I didn't have a particularly rewarding flight experience with the Bebop, as you can tell. But do you know what? I think a vast majority of that is because of my lack of familiarity with using a touch screen as a control mechanism. Don't forget, I've spent all my time with quads flying analog sticks. And I was finding things like, my brain hadn't quite, perhaps I'm not from the touchscreen generation, but my brain was a bit slow on remembering that you've got to actually make contact with the screen and then move in the direction. Because of course with a stick, your thumbs are kind of floating around. There's no need to press down or maintain a contact with anything. And I'm quite an active flyer normally. I quite like to fly in ATTI mode with my other drones. I like to be making actively flying the aircraft, making nice bank turns and practice flying nose in and so on. So I'm one for kind of making constant small corrections to keep things on track, which doesn't come naturally to me on a touch screen. I have to say though, there is a very small amount of control lag, but it is really small. And I suspect if I'd been given the optional Sky Controller accessory, which has analog sticks and also a Wi-Fi booster, which will take this out to 2 kilometers range, whereas at the moment it's a couple of 100 meters. Then I think actually I'd probably have a much more positive flying experience with it, because it would be what suits me and my flying style. But like I said, I haven't had as much time with it as others will have, and I'm sure actually it's one of those things, the more you use it, the more you get used to it. It was running really smooth and quick, the app on my Nexus 7 tablet running Android Lollipop, so that was great. Positives though, the image stability, the digital gimbal effectively is awesome. Really impressed with that. And I thought the camera quality was very good. But bearing in mind, the size of this thing, the size of the package, the portability of it and everything else. And that big old lens there does a cracking job, I thought. I like the fact you get 2 of these batteries in the box, the robustness of the thing. I was sort of, as you could tell, in the windy conditions, and also just generally taking it to the edge of my control skill with the touchscreen. I've bashed this around a little bit, and apart from some sap staining and a couple of slight dings in the leading edge of a prop or two, this thing has not batted an eyelid. Really like that bonus feature of if it notices that it's had a motor stop because of an impact or something like that, it kills the power to everything to save burning ESCs out and beeps at you so you know where it is. I was really impressed with that. And the app is very slick. Once you get your head around navigating around, it's very easy to change the modes. The fact that upcoming with it, you'll be able to do autonomous programmable flying, and also the fact that there's an SDK out there, so developers with some software background can actually kind of hack into this a bit. And I know people with previous Parrot ARs who've been able to muck around with Raspberry Pi computers and do all sorts of clever stuff with them. So I think if you're a newcomer to quads, this is a very slick package. I think if you've already got a phantom-sized drone, I think that may spoil you in terms of capability. However, if you are looking for something that can do quick shots that you can stuff in a backpack that's really small and portable and lightweight, as a ready-to-fly one, this is pretty impressively put together. So there we are. It's a lot of it's got to be down to personal preference and cost and everything else. I mean, with the additional kind of optional controller, you are pushing this up towards kind of phantom territory in terms of pricing, and you could probably pick up now a second-hand Vision Plus with a couple of batteries for the same price as this and the Sky Controller. Now that to me personally, because of my experience, that would be a hard sell. But of course, other people, you have a different use case, and this may be just what you want. The sort of the small form factor, the lightweight, the crash proofing because it is lightweight, and the kind of fairly indestructible nature of it, and the fact you'll never get any props in shot. So there we go. That's my take on the Bebop by Parrot. So thank you very much again to the UK Drone Show for sending that through, for following that little win that I had with them. I am going to give it away to somebody, as I said, I need to come up with a creative way of doing that. So I'll pop another video in a couple of days with how you can win this slightly used Bebop, and I'll send it to you. And I'll come up with a creative way of making it open to everybody to win. But until we do that, and until the next time, many thanks indeed for watching as ever. Thank you for subscribing. A particular thanks to the patrons of the channel who really support me and making sure I can continue to doing these videos. If you'd like to join them or you'd like to support the channel in any other ways, there are links down below in the description. There'll be a couple of links you can click at the end of the video as well. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon back on the kitchen table. Cheers!